This should be huge. The Cooper Flagg point guard experiment continues. And I'm going to talk to you today about why I think that's a good thing. Okay. We've had 24 hours to blow off our steam here. We've had the opportunity to look at game film and, start to understand that Wemby is just Wemby, and maybe we'll do a little bit better against the Washington Wizards tonight at 6:30. But yeah, I'll dive more into that here in just a moment. I am your host, Ethan, the advisor Clayton, and this is Your Mavs, a Dallas Mavericks podcast where all are welcome. Y'all better behave. Yeah, lots to cover this morning in a short amount of time, so let's dive in. Namesake of today's episode, this should be huge. Yeah, we're talking about Cooper Flagg. We're talking about the point guard experiment that Jason Kidd is running. And I mentioned that I think it's actually a good thing. And let's talk about why. But before I share my reasons, I'll tell you exactly what Jason Kidd said. There was probably a full paragraph worth of maybe some fluff. Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. Look, nobody's going to sit here and say that he did a really good job. You're not going to convince us that this is a natural fit or his best position, especially as a rookie. But one sentence from that paragraph I think is worth highlighting. He did a good job setting his teammates up. And I went back and watched a few of the highlights. I mentioned this in yesterday's episode. There were a few times where Cooper got a head full of steam, drove to the hoop, then saw that, Mr. 8'11" Victor Wembanyama was waiting for him in the paint, and he made a business decision, okay? And he passed it off to someone else. In the moment, watching it live, it felt like maybe he was just a little bit scared. But I'm telling you, he made he made the business decisions that wound up being the right call. And a couple of those times it actually wound up leading to buckets. He wasn't credited with an assist. Maybe we'll call it a hockey assist. But look, he is naturally gifted at setting his teammates up, whether or not he is the primary offensive initiator, whether you label him as a traditional point guard, point forward, it does not matter. The kid is wired for winning, okay? And he is wired to not constantly be in the spotlight, but to share the rock. So I think, for one, that is something I'm going to be looking closer at in this game against Washington tonight. And another reason why I think this is a good thing that the point coop experiment is continuing. Listen, in Summer League, okay, let's just rewind a little bit. The first game of Summer League, Coop looked a little bit rough out there, right? I mean, he didn't necessarily turn the ball over. He was, I guess, comfortable enough handling the ball, but he shot the ball terribly from the field. Okay, and that's when people were starting to sound the way too early alarm, like, are we concerned about Coop's shot? The very next game, after having like primary ball handling skill duties for the first time, he immediately skyrocketed up in the second game. Okay, he leveled up so quickly because the kid is a sponge. Okay, I hate that I'm still calling him kid. I get it that I'm like twice his age, but I'm not trying to put myself on blast like that by calling someone a kid. Let me retract that. Our guy, the Rook, Coop, the main event, he levels up so quickly. He is a sponge. He is a game film rat. Okay, he's just constantly giving himself tough feedback and leaning on coaching staff and all of that to really rip into him and help him level up quickly. And what did he do in that second summer league game? He went absolutely bananas. Okay, so I don't necessarily expect a 30-point outing with 5 or 6 assists tonight, but look, we got to give it more than one game before we're sounding the alarm. We got to give it one more game before we're saying that Coach Kidd is going to be in the hot seat. Okay, we've got to give it a little bit of time because he is 18. He is a sponge. He levels up quickly. And I think we're already going to see vast improvements on the court tonight, okay? Now, we're not going to have nearly the defensive pressure looming large, okay, against the Wizards that we did against the Spurs. So there's going to be opportunities to let the offense rip a little bit. Let Cooper be more, be more aggressive in getting his own shot. But I'm willing to put a large sum of money on the fact that Cooper Flagg will log an assist tonight. And whether or not we're still firmly in the camp that this point guard experiment should be over, or if we're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, I'm just begging you. I'm advising. Let's give it like 3, 4, maybe 5 games before we're like, headhunting. Okay. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing. It should be huge for his development to continue to get reps as primary ball handler. And whether or not that is a long-term solution for our roster, I'm not worried about that right now. I want to see him do his thing as a ball handler. I want to see him do his thing as an initiator and a creator. Okay. So let's give it a few games. I think this is going to be great. Let's move right along into the rumor section. Guys, I don't want to come right in spitting opinions about things I don't fully understand. Right at this moment, I don't fully understand the rather large NBA gambling scandal that we have going on. I've got the bullet points that we've all seen on Twitter, but there was something that caught my attention, and I do want to bring it up. Again, nothing concrete here, but this was mentioned by Brian Windhorst from ESPN. One of the big, I guess, segments of this NBA gambling investigation is about player availability, right? And bookmakers having access to insider information about, hey, listen, LeBron is not going to be available in this game. You should go ahead and bet the under, okay? You know what, guys? Anthony Davis's name was mentioned, right? The Los Angeles Lakers specifically are one of the teams that are being looked at with a fine-tooth comb. But I didn't like that Anthony Davis's name was mentioned in this conversation. I don't think that this has I don't think this is damning on his reputation by any stretch just yet. But also, side note, if you need insider information to predict whether or not I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to say it, whether or not Data Davis is going to be available, like that's kind of on you, okay? But yeah, I don't know where we go with this. I don't know where this deep FBI investigation is going to go. I just know that our guy Anthony Davis was mentioned from Brian Windhorst's mouth. Windy, okay? Take that with a grain of salt, whatever you want to do. But stuff is getting real with this investigation, right? Like Adam Silver, I'm not going to go with it. I'm not going to go too deep in this because, again, I don't fully understand it. Like the day before yesterday, he was on the Pat McAfee show talking about how they can track where all bets are being placed and this and that. And it just kind of sounds like the system is set up where they can rig it. But I am not a deep conspiracy NBA guy. Let's move past this. But do continue to monitor your Twitter feed because I think this is incredibly fascinating. And you know what? This story wasn't even broken by Pablo Torre. It was broken by like the friggin' FBI. Okay. So this is definitely worth being dialed into. Now, moving right along, I have a super special trade package for you today on today's special Friday episode. Listen, I've had Daniel Gafford on the chopping block for a few episodes now. Main reason is, again, we have depth at that position. And, especially if we slide AD into the 5, we're getting quality minutes from both AD and Derek Lively. And we don't need to have an awesome third string center. We could have a pretty good one and get away with it. I had Klay Thompson on the chopping block in yesterday's episode because I don't like the 4 of 13 shooting effort. I don't like that right now your primary role on this roster is to shoot the ball, and he didn't look good. He didn't have any rhythm. That's a skill set that the Mavericks desperately need. So you know what I'm going to do today, guys? I've got super special trade cooked up for you. The advisor has been working behind the scenes. I'm going to combine Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson in a trade package today. And you're like, whoa, homie, slow down. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. All right, I'm gonna go right into it. Malik Monk for the Sacramento Kings, Keon Ellis from the Sacramento Kings, and Drew Eubanks in exchange for Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson. Let's dive a little bit deeper. I started with Malik Monk. That is the largest contract that we would be trading for. It's about $18 million a year. He has taken tremendous strides as a primary ball handler. He can shoot. He is athletic. He is explosive, and he is serviceable on defense. Now, he's not locked down by any stretch, but he is serviceable as a perimeter defender. Okay. Over the summer, the Kings were like trying to move heaven and earth to involve Malik Monk in a trade so that they could free up a roster spot for Russell Westbrook. And guess what? They went ahead and signed Westbrook anyway. They still have a Malik Monk. They still have a few guards in their rotation where things are going to start to get a little crowded. So I want to help them out with that crowded rotation. Like, here's a Klay Thompson. Here's some shooting services. You still have your guard depth, but like, we kind of need the primary ball handling thing. You need the shooting. Let's do this trade. Now, I also mentioned Keon Ellis. I really, really like this guy. Okay. He has not shot under 40% from three his entire career. And the first few years, it was on rather low shooting volume. But last season, he shot 43% on 5.8 threes a game. Okay. Hello. Let's plug that into our offense. Like, if we change nothing else, but we have a guy knocking down threes at a 43% clip. Hello. Now we're cooking. Okay. And, just for the fun of it and for salary matching, I'm asking Sacramento to give us Drew Eubanks as well. He is an awesome, awesome bench player. Okay. He comes in, and if he gets 15 minutes, he might just mess around and get you a double-double. But he will bring you solid production almost every night. And it's kind of our consolation prize because, we're giving away a starting level center in Daniel Gafford at $18 million. Again, we don't need to have a starter level center as our third string. Okay. Drew Eubanks would be the perfect third string, or maybe even second string if AD refuses to play the five. Okay. But we would maintain our center depth. We would have another primary ball handler because we saw an opening night. Ball handling is not our strength right now. We would add shooting to the rotation, and we would continue to have a big, deep five position. Okay. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. Please, let's dive into the weeds on analytics and let me know what you think about this trade. Again, Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson in exchange for Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, Drew Eubanks. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, friends. But that's all I got for you on today, on a fine Friday. Look, again, I know we're over 24 hours removed from the clobbering that we got from the San Antonio Spurs and Wemby. Like, let's get the energy back up. Let's get the vibes back up. I expect great things tonight against the Washington Wizards. I expect great things from Point Coop. I expect great things from D'Angelo Russell coming off the bench after a pretty terrible season opener. It looks like he's going to be on a short leash with Jason Kidd. So he needs to figure that out and be efficient coming off the bench. I expect great things. Now, I'll leave you with this. Y'all be good, okay? Y'all be good.